we're going to have that 2-2 lock.
That's right. This is the final week of non-222.
One last ride.
Here in North America. Korea's going to be on it for quite a while, though, so still get a chance to see some triple DPS and otherwise. But it's going away soon. Supplies are limited.
So second win, they are playing on that 2-2 already. They're going to be running Izar on the Sombra, Kaden here on the Pharah. XL2, though, they're just going to play triple DPS. So less of a static for them, less of a dive, and more of a poke.
KSP looking for on these upside and gets it. Nice pick off here from XL2 and a really good start from KSP. Those were not easy shots.
No, they were not, and they were following off there from Speedly's rockets. So KSP finding that damage, hearing the call, hitting some huge shots.
Second win back on the point, though. Kaden and Bird able to do more back on the other side at second wind with first control. So XL2 winning part of the battle, but certainly not winning the war here thus far. And now under heavy pressure is Kaden, challenging Speedily back and forth.
Second win, they've given this first flip. They also use that nano to get the zone. And for XL2, the problem with their comp is that they still don't have great point presence when they're running this triple DPS with so many snipers in the Pharah. As Shredlock finds Speedily, denies that high ground. Still going to be contesting the point here.
Second win, a really good spot right now. 30% to them, far more point control. And XL2, they're going to have to focus really heavily on landing a good EMP for the next fight. And even then, if they just get 1 to 2 eliminations, it might not be enough for the flip.
Second win really doing a great job in terms of denying the space while also controlling the point. This is the value of running this double tank setup. Because XL2 with the triple DPS, they're so reliant on poke damage, on finding an early pick. As KSB, he finds just that on Bird.
Made it look easy. Now looking far on the other side. Oh! Couldn't finish it! Well, KSB went from landing the hard shots and missing the easy ones. This time, gonna finish off Kaden just in the sightline for way too long, and XL2 an overwhelming advantage that not only gets the point, but they also get to save EMP.
Second win though, they will have an EMP of their own. Izar holding on to that. And with XL2 having double support ult in this upcoming fight, they do have the sustain they need. They could even look for an early engage with this EMP barrage, or maybe using Gig that mine to lock off the point, because second win, they're gonna look for the point presence.
KSP again with the early pickoff. Puts XL2 in a good spot right as Izar dropped the EMP. Shredlock for a bit of disruption here on second win. Nice juggle. With KSP in a rough spot, but the pocket is there. KSP just kind of shrugs it off. It's not enough damage when the Mercy is there healing it all up. And XL2 still in firm control of the point. A second win tries to poke and prod their way back in, but taking down the Mercy. Good step here from Kaden. Barrage ready. Then the drop on over and immediately just evaporates the Ana.
Really gonna get that counter frag, but Shredlock, he's there to finish it up, and those speedily finds too. You see the players up for second win. They have the Sombra, they have both those tanks. Can they finish up here? Can they finish the frags on the point? And with Gig Hack, the answer is going to be yes.
Not a bad sequence for XL2 overall, though. However, next fight could very well be their last if they are not swift. KSP, probably their deadliest threat here so far. Very consistent on early pickoffs, and again, high damage on the Shredlock.
Those walls is denying the setup for Izar. You see how aggressive XL2 are being, and Buds gets the hack, finishes off Halo, so no pocket now for Kaden. A lot of heals down, and Shredlock's down, so with the Winston down, even with KSP out, XL2 could be able to pressure the point.
Losing KSP, though, is a fairly big blow. Haku, Can on the other side, speedily! Nano boosted Pharah, drops a barrage, decent enough. XL2, they get the reflip when they need it most, but it is fully one fight territory now. Second wind. We'll see how they handle it. EMP in reserve, but XL2 is much the same. Could be a battle between Sombras.
EMP versus EMP. Second win with this double tank setup, they are in a much better position to follow up. If they just are able to catch this Mercy, this Fair Mercy combo right here, that's exactly what Izar is looking to do. Can Shredlock and Frill be there to clean it up?
Drops the EMP on top. Fall through right after Izar's EMP. It's enough. Or no, it's not even enough to get one as Gig and KSP turn it back the other way. XL2, slightly better spot. Both bars out of the team fight. He's moving over, holding on to mines. And a little bit scrappy between both sides. Speedily res back up to for a second win. Just trying to get over the point. Now someone has to be at point at all times, and if Shredlock moves in, he's gonna fall. Gets nanoed, lets him stay on the point just a little bit longer, push out XL2, and second win, hanging in there.
KSP, that's a huge frag onto Kaden. You see the EMP going to be used by Buds now on point with Halo getting the res. Can XL2 finish up? Because this is where XL2 falls apart, and they can't. They can't finish up. They don't have the point presence when Gig is down. And that is the weakness of their comp there, is that second wind, that's a crucial nano that Bird gave on a Shredlock to make sure they can contest the point. But most importantly, it's all just about the point presence in general, and XL2 just didn't have it as soon as Gig went down.
And really, I would just go directly onto the nano there, where you take a look at Shredlock. Shredlock was about to fall. That was a desperation, oh, I have to touch a point now. That was not a well-planned, hey, this is exactly where we want to enter. It was, well, we're going to head on here and hope it works. And Bird lands a nano at pretty much the most crucial time to not only keep him alive, but let second wind retake the point. So XL2, to an extent, might be feeling a little bit robbed the way the end went down there, but we'll see if they're able to turn things around. Both teams deciding to head out here on Orisa Hog. Both heroes disproportionately strong just because of the well.
You see, it's going to be a mirror matchup here. Both teams playing this Orisa Hog with the Hanzo Pharah. So you have the Pharah to control the skies, look for the boops, and you have the shield presence given to them by both of them. Halt Hook's going to be so important to watch.
Gig healed back up after taking some heavy poke. Both teams filling each other out before committing heavily to point. But XL2 and second wind both taking one corner each. Shredlock almost booped into the pit. Meanwhile, Kaden does boop into the pit, drops a barrage over the top, and he built the barrage so quickly because Gig went into the pit.
Halo's going to be there to have the res, and now they've gone the res, they control the point, they've won the first fight. As Bud's going to go down there late. And second wind off that boop, you see both Pharaohs go for it, but Shredlock, he has the fortify, he does not quite get into the pit, but Gig does. And now for XL2, when you look at this comp that they're running, the hard part is just getting back. Look at this presence. Look at the spam that Kaden is doing here, the orbital bombardment, and you have to come through these narrow chokes onto the point. Being
the defensive Pharah is a much better spot than being the offensive Pharah. Speedily tries to go for the boop. Not quite going to get it. Bud's under heavy focus fire. Falls. Ezire. One storm arrow after the other, but Bud's gets a party gift.
Bud's also able to be res because unlike that, Frill's in the pit. He can't be res there.
Kaden gets a nano, but you can't spend most of the nano time looking speedily. It's going to be a waste. Gets hooked on down. Nano saves life, but not for long. Bud's still at the finishing blow on the other side, and Halo. Battle Mercy looking for speedily. Takes him down.
Ezire's there. He's going to find that finish off onto Gig. He's going to have that. And Kaden, he did so much with the nano there. Able to find two frags. He did a ton of damage as well. Kaden's Pharah has been really dominant so far this series.
Second wind. Potentially about one fight away from walking away with map 1 and making the rest of the playoff picture very interesting indeed.
Now XL2 having to re-enter into the point. They do have Nano Barrage. They have the Valkyrie. Second wind, a lot of their hope rests upon the value for the Supercharger for Shredlock. Can they break the shield? Can they look for the boops? They don't get anything there early.
Speedily gets a nano, already gets one. Bird out of the fight. Frill though takes down his counterpart. Buds to the pits. Hooks. Back to the other side, speedily holding onto the barrage. Back to the other side. Just weaving in and around the battle, keeping XL2 in it. But time is just about done. And XL2 is a fight they must win. Speedily to the back. Barrage ready, looking for Hanzo. Super tense in the backline, speedily falls!
And XL2, they just still have not had any of the value they need just yet. The Supercharger's out for them along with that Valve. They will find Ezire off the hook, but Bud's gonna be pulled off in return. And second win, they're still in a good spot here. Real very high HP. But XL2, they might have brought it back. They're both their damage dealers are back. They have the DPS ults. If they can look for the good engage here, they can definitely break the shield.
Boundade on the Frill, not gonna be able to take a breather now. Frill super low. Gets a chance to heal back up. Shredlock gets punished though in turn. Both Orisas out of the fight. Gonna be pretty shieldless here. Halo though, will get the res. Second wind in a better spot. And XL2, even though they get the point flip, their backline starting to get decimated. Kaden putting the Farm Mercy duo to task.
Frill, he's been an absolute menace on the point. He still hasn't gone down. He's getting consistent hook value. And second wind, they will be getting the first map. Gig goes down late. He will lose. Frill will go with them. But second wind, despite that long, protracted fight, the reality is their situation was a lot stronger. Their setup was a lot stronger. It's so hard for the team to recap the point into that Hanzo, into that Hog, into the Pharah that's just shooting you from the sky. And despite the early pickoffs, they just couldn't close it out.
And winning the first fight for that last round still super advantageous, where from the Pharah perspective, you saw Kaden just get so much value from the defensive Pharah point of view. XL2 seemingly always trying to fight their way back from behind, and You look back to the round before, right? You just had Second Wind running a composition that gave them more point presence, and XL2 didn't get a lot of fights in this map where they were working from a position of power really at all.
So we're going to be into our second map of this series. It will be Volskaya. Second Wind currently up 1-0, but a very close Ilios. I mean, it was just mirror matchups almost all the way besides that first round. I mean, the mirror matchup on Well, it's so dependent on seeing Caden or Pharah get a lot of value, and Caden seems to be winning those Pharah duels, or at least getting more consistent value on the Pharah, which is so important there. Allows them to set up on the point.
So we'll see if XL2 can bring things back. Where remember what is at stake here. Second Wind wants to shake up the standings here, where, believe me, if they win, the last two matches here tonight get a lot more interesting. XL2, meanwhile, says, just let us secure second place. Like, please, do we have to go through all this? And the answer is yes, because Second Wind has improved week after week this season. And I gotta say, regardless of how this match turns out, Second Wind is definitely a dark horse going into playoffs. The idea that they could get to the gauntlet later this year, not crazy at all.
And you know the craziest part about that is that we said that exact same thing last season in Contenders. We said this exact same thing about Second Winds with an entirely different roster. Yep. They just keep doing it. The Madmen, they keep getting away with it.
And what more can you say other than the fact that it still astounds me that the organizational brains behind Second Wind has not been picked up by an academy team, at a minimum at this point, because why wouldn't you? They're doing the academy system better than some of the other academy teams that we've seen that have a lot more support. And what they've achieved is really remarkable.
So we're just getting ready for, just waiting for both squads to get in here onto Volskaya. Now, as we move away from Ilios and get into Volskaya, this is where we have to start looking into getting to the KSB playground, as they say. Because if there's one thing that KSB is really good at, it's playing Widow. And you know what you can play a lot of on Volskaya, and moving forward into the maps, the rest of the maps in this series, you can play a lot of Widow. KSB's hit scan is very, very good. And Second Wind, they just really don't have a equal, I think, in KSB just yet. Frill, he's had a great performance so far this season, but I don't necessarily know if any of their hit scan is quite on the level of KSB's.
Oh, I fully agree. KSB's Widow has been next level, and even at points, Second Wind was making it a bit easy for him in how they were positioning, but from here on out, everything is heavily Widow focused. You see it on Volskaya, you see it on Hollywood, and you definitely see it on Havana, which has some of the longest sight lines in the game.
So we are now heading into our assault map. Both squads just getting set up. Second window, they're probably going to have to find some ways around that KSB Widow dominance, around that hit scan dominance. I wouldn't be surprised to see them run some more Orisa Hog, even potentially get onto the Sombra Goats here. Just take these fights very aggressively. Because despite what we've said, how KSB's Widow has been extremely good, Frill's also had a great season, and Frill, he can definitely get what's done. He can get the value necessary, what you need from a Widow player, even if you're not necessarily winning every Widow duel. And remember that Frill used to be a main tank. He's always been a DPS player, but he did play main tank for one season. He comes out here again on the DPS and has performed exceptionally well.
Frill hanging back. It's going to be Widow v Widow here to start things out. Speedily going to the Hanzo, so double sniper opening for XL2.
Second one, the triple DPS setup here, though. So they have not only the angles covered here for the double snipers, but they have Izar going to be constantly poking, waiting for EMP. And the most important part for the EMP here is that it's not going to be really a fight winner in terms of can Second Wind engage, because they really can engage with a double sniper and an Orisa. They're not running dive tanks or any other dive heroes. But if you can just remove the barrier and remove the healing, you can get those picks.
Frill able to get Batiste early here for Second Wind. Maybe delaying the XL2 offense quite a bit because this lost a huge chunk of healing in Second Wind.
They're only healing, in fact.
Getting far more aggressive as a result.
XL2 on this solo heal Batiste setup means that if they lose OG early, they can't stay in the fight. They really don't have anything to keep them alive at all. They're relying on making it towards the point. They're relying on getting this window early. And actually, OG is going to swap to the Mercy now, but it still leaves them in the exact same scenario. It's one healer for 3 tanks. And so not a huge amount of sustain for them if they're taking a lot of damage. It's required of them to mitigate this damage and make it to the point.
Meanwhile, for Second Wind, any bit of poke damage, a lot more valuable. Orisa down immediately. This gets plunked by Frill, not behind the shield. Alt coming on over. OG, a bit of danger. And as you say, if OG falls, it's the Achilles heel of XL2. No other healing beyond that.
XL2, they made it to the safety here of underneath the sight lines. But as of right now, they're just sort of middling around. They're just waiting. Looks like they're going to be taking this rotation up onto the high ground, trying to take the fight.
Dragon over the top. Caden takes down one immediately. Win on 65, speedily firing back. But that's going to be rezzed. Second win still at full strength. They dive into XL2 with great results. And even with KSP being rezzed, this is a very second win dominated fight. KSP going to be fine one, and that one won't be rezzed. XL2 tries to rotate around and put this in a better spot.
They have no gig right now. They have no shield to play around. They had to wait for the supercharger to be gone before they could really make a move because of all that extra damage. Currently, they're not finding any of the picks. They're just really just losing time, waiting for Gig to come back. Gig is now going to be back with Haku. They're going to look to move towards the point since they've removed second wind's high ground presence a little bit.
Pressure from Shredlock over the top, and the poke damage is so severe, and yet XL2 able to withstand. They take down two, one of which being rezzed. Second win not have it here just yet. They're going to burn the Valkyrie. Nano still in reserve here. Dragon could be forcing rotation. Both double snipers out. Even as Halo gets a flashy pickup on the other side. Second win running out of people left to defend here on point. They invest in Nano anyways. But XL2, they finally pierce on through. A minute left here on point A. They'll be getting a little bit more time as they head to point B, but not a bad defense coming out from second win.
No, second win definitely played that expertly, and really they didn't actually have to do anything too special. They just had to wait. They knew they had the better sustain. Having all that extra poke damage, that XL2 with all their tanks, it's so tough for them to engage unless they get picks, unless they somehow just walk through a rotation without taking any damage, which second win wasn't letting them.
A little bit of a halt to set things up here. Second win, trying to get back into a rhythm. Infrasight up, Izar holding on to the EMP, and the EMP gonna be vital. EMP striking 4. Izar giving his life for it. He has to be the immediate punish. So far, only down the Orisa. This is still winnable for XL2, though. Losing the shield tank early makes things a bit difficult. D.Va falling, the front line just not there anymore for XL2. Haku, the last one remaining. And second win, they're just able to do so much poke damage with the tanks out of the fray.
Second win now, just finishing up, getting reset up. They're seeing now Haku going down a little bit late. I really think this could be a chance for them to just swap into the second win combo, into a triple DPS with no Hog, no D.Va, any of that. Sombra Goats, very strong. You see that XL2 is going to be making those swaps here onto the side. It's not even going to be Sombra Goats, it's going to be the regular 3-3. And second win, probably going to have to make some swaps of their own. Going to go Sombra Goats, likely put Shredlock onto the line, and that's exactly what they do. So both squads making full swaps here. Izar gets to stay on the Sombra, though. So 60% towards his next EMP, and Bird will have the Nano for the engage.
Second wind holding back on point. XL2 setting up the attack once more. Not a lot in reserve. Gig actually getting dangerously low. In terms of the poke coming in from second wind there. Izar, 0.5% the EMP. Nano can be used. Bird says, you know what, let's go. Let's get into XL2 space. And Shredlock just gets to walk forward, swings the hammer. 2 already. And good timing on the Nano there from Bird.
Good timing, but just also good setup. Second Wind knows that when there's a Winston on the field, when Gig's on that Winston, and they're not playing anything that can really hack him to keep him from his shield up, they don't have a lot of damage since they're not playing Xin. That Nano Reinhardt is unstoppable. You give him the bubble, you give him the armor packs, and he can just walk forward continuously. There's nothing can be done. XL2 going back to spawn, making the swap now, putting Gig onto the Ryan and Buds onto the Sombra. They're going to decide to mirror here in the Sombra good setup, but they're going to be behind in the ult bank. It's so crucial here. They build up some ults and they remove this EMP from second wind.
This is such a good EMP potential here for Izar. And second wind, I like what they're doing. They're delaying this out. They don't go for the aggressive engage here. They're going to make XL2 push us all the way to point, then they're going to be using EMP. Izar, though, gets caught. Nearly uses EMP under pressure, able to get out. XL2 taking the opportunity to move forward off of what's given. Instead, second wind, though, EMP shatter, back the other way. And that's going to repel XL2 for now.
It was a good read from Speedily, but great composure from Izar. If you contrast that to what we saw in our previous matchup where Apply gets bashed and just, drops EMP in a situation where they're not really set up at all. He was, if anything, moved away in this place where the EMP wasn't as good. That's what great Sombras will do. In comparison, you just EMP away. If you're not bursted down, there's no reason to commit the EMP in that fight where you're likely just to die right after or not even get the EMP that you need. So they just use the EMP a little bit later, win the fight regardless. XL2, though, they've removed the EMP, removed the Shatter. They come into this fight They need to worry about Caden's grab, though. This is the next threat for them. They have some sustain with the rally and the nano, but they just don't have beat. They could look to set up this very aggressive EMP, though, with Buds.
I think Buds is key here to XL2 on the setup. Budzo takes a chunk of poke damage early, delays the ability to go in for the EMP. Nano gets used by XL2 just to bake a little bit of space, but guess what? Space not gonna be given. The Graviton in, EMP out the other way though from XL2. Gig able to drop the shatter. ASP there, the fall through. XL2 now back the other way. The Graviton comes in, doesn't connect with anything.
They are on point though, XL2, they control the point, they have a high energy Zarya. Second win, not really having any ults at all, they're staggering. They're gonna have to fully reset, give up 2 ticks, maybe need to contest after. Izar close to the EMP, but XL2's presence is just so strong.
They have to keep supporting Shredlock here. Shredlock though gets pinned, Shredlock super low and down. Gig finishing off his counterpart. Second win, now they just have to throw bodies on the point and hope something good happens. EMP comes out, they focus fire in. And now it's Nano, Zarya moving forward, Bird off the Nano, Kaden with the follow through. Second win, then brought this one back.
And they also have OG, he decided not to commit the beat. Second win though, this is the last fight. OG, he's still holding on to the beat, they're waiting. There's only 10 seconds left, he's gonna have to use the beat to keep himself alive just a touch.
This could be a quick Volskaya, XL2. The OG drop the beat here, just trying to buy any time. And I gotta say, they kept Shredlock alive for a particularly long period of time there on the delay, and it was enough to let people get back onto the point. And then in particular, the focus fire off the EMP onto Gig was really, really good.
I think you sort of hit the nail on the head there, is that despite Shredlock going down, they kept him alive long enough for them to build EMP. And that was the ult they needed to be able to recontest. And the EMP followed by that focus fire meant that it was very possible for Second Wind to retake. I think Second Wind, they're much more disciplined now as the season's gone on. They made these roster changes. We've seen it in their play there for the recontest. We see it with Izar getting bashed and not committing to EMP. Second Wind looking like a force to be reckoned with as the series goes on.
So, Second Wind with a pretty easy winning opportunity ahead of them now. All they need to do, finish point B, and the map is theirs, and they go up 2-0 to start off the series, where again, it definitely livens up the playoff picture and then some. XL2, meanwhile, look at this and can't be super happy, because instead of just going, all right, we've locked up number 2, it's fine, they don't necessarily lose number 2 by losing here in the series, but then their fate of keeping it becomes reliant on the performance of other teams, and you never want to be in that spot where you're just nervously watching the stream, hoping that things go your way.
Still is a win condition though for XL2. So the fate is not out of their hands just yet. XL2 rolling out here on the They're going to be playing the Sombra Goats defense with OG on the Batiste and Gig on the Winston. So a lot of ability for them to contest these chokes. Now with OG being on the Batiste though, it's interesting because it's tough to hit consistent long-range heals on Batiste comparatively to Ana or even Zen. Obviously, because then you don't even have to aim, you just put the orb on them. So when you look at OG being on this Batiste, it seems to something more of like almost a counter dive measure, looking to throw the immortality field to allow them to contest longer at these chokes.
Well, already Gig getting in there on the contest, 33% off the initial go. Not bad at all for Winston. In fact, Gig getting a lot of ult charge here. 56%. This is reasonable.
And that's exactly what they want, though. I mean, I can see now why the Batiste is being used. You see that immortality field thrown for OG, so Gig can stay in the fight longer to build more primal.
And he's just continually building it up, stay in the face. Their big throws down a little bit too deep. The bio nade plus the fall through from Halo, and it all goes wrong from there. Gig now gonna have to swap off Winston entirely. No primal will be had, and that is a very quick take here for Second Wind. The exact opposite that XL2 needed here.
A novel concept for the composition, but I feel like if they're going to be using Immortality Field, they need to be saving it for the actual engage that's going to happen on Gig. XL2, though...
Okay, he's swapping.
They're swapping. They're not
I was going to say,
no,
I thought he was going to...
They weren't going to stay there. They definitely weren't going to stay there. They have Nano. They have EMP with this falling fight. But 6.5 minutes just to cap last. Really don't even have to cap last fully. Second, we can just take Eagle Push after Eagle Push.
They're going to open up here the Nano. Nano on the Shredlock early. The EMP striking most of XL2 in turn. It's a really nice engage from Second Wind.
It's done.
It's over. And the shatter from Shredlock, just a finishing measure here. A second wind easily dispatch XL2 here on Volskaya. And this playoff situation might be heating up.
That was beautifully executed by Second Wind. Not just the push on first, realizing, well, no immortality field. Let's push the Winston because that's your best burn target. But on last, they knew they had EMP. They drop the early engage with the Nano, walk onto point to get the presence, burn the tanks, and then they know there's going to come that EMP out from KSP, and Kaden and Izar just hide. They just immediately hide while the Rhine continues to push and then drops the counter EMP. That was beautifully played from Second Wind.
It was really nice, and one consistent trend, and we've been seeing a whole lot here so far, is that Bird has just had really well-timed nanos where, sure, part of that is that could be a team call, but it's still the manner of putting the nano, right place, right time for your players to move in and make the most out of it. And Bird in general, really good player when he was with Atlanta Academy, kind of got forced out because Kodak came in from the Overwatch League. But it never had to do with Bird being bad. It's just, okay, they thought Kodak was a stronger prospect. Guess what? Bird is still really good.
I think overall, Second Wind's roster in general, it seems that their shot calling is very, very good. It's really it's moved beyond individual skill there to just overall team cohesion. Because when you look at a push like that and you see we're going to use the nano to force the EMP and everyone's going to hide so we can counter EMP, and you play not a single person that you don't want to get EMP'd is not EMP'd. That is a beautiful execution there. And they're consistently finding things like that for Second Wind. And they've been doing it now since that roster has been swapped. So it's a roster that's definitely moving beyond dark horse for me, at least, going into playoffs and going into like a real contender to actually take maps off of Envy, maybe even win Envy if they continue this arc of progression.
I fully agree. They've been looking really, really good here so far. But guys, that was the first half. Will they complete the match and throw the playoff standings into disarray, or XL2 bring it on back? Stay with us. We'll find out soon.